everybody. Welcome back to the Bullhucker podcast. I'm Moose Lundstrom.
I'm Jenny Nebb.
And we have a guest today because we're on location again. We were here 2 weeks ago at the Club Tap Room here in Fort Morgan, Colorado. Old school, man.
Very old school.
This is an old stomping ground. This is, I've had some memories that some I remember, some I don't remember so much in this damn bar. But we have the owner with us today, Mr. Ryan Stroh.
Nice to be here.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, buddy.
Thanks for coming.
We when Rick was here, we talked a little bit about it. We'll dive into it more. This
Absolutely.
Yeah, I told him you've probably seen his episode by now, but Sean Kelly was early in this podcast, like episode 5, 6, whatever. And he was talking about his grandfather, who was in World War II, who was a veteran, who went and he fought and he'd send money back to his wife to buy a farm here. When he came back, there'd be a farm. Well, what she ended up doing was taking the money and buying a bar, and it was the Club Tap Room.
Oh, really?
So from what Sean claims, they were the original owners. When did this open?
I believe Club Tap is one of the existing longest liquor licenses in town. I know this and North Main Liquor, I believe, or something.
Really?
I'm not as familiar with the history as I probably should be, but
right.
There has only been a handful of owners, I believe, at least
right.
since the town's been wet, as they call it.
How far back does that liquor license go? Do you know?
I'm asking my mom, who was obviously predates all of us. I believe it was 60s, mid-60s is when the town went wet.
Okay.
So
interesting.
I don't know. Yeah, it's when they allowed full-fledged alcohol
so it was
in
a
the city
dry
limits.
Town before.
I believe
then,
so.
pretty
At least the hard stuff. You know, you could do
Right.
3-2. I think was still available.
Really?
Was available in those earlier days. Yeah.
That's crazy. Huh.
So.
Well, that's cool, man. But welcome to the Bullhucker podcast. Before we get started, what the Bullhucker is, if you're new to the podcast, is we bring a guest on. Today we have Ryan Stroh. Ryan's going to tell us 3 stories about his life. Here, the kicker is only 2 of these stories are true. One is either made up, borrowed, or half and half. Ryan, without going into great detail, is it a made-up story, a partly made-up story, or a borrowed story?
It's going to be a partly made-up story.
Okay, so half and half.
Yeah.
So this can be tough, too. Also, you can find all our stuff on the bullhucker.com, so please check us out there. No matter where you get your podcast, please like and subscribe. We do appreciate it. Jen will high-five or hug you on the street if you tell her you've done it.
I will.
I mean, that's fair,
or
right?
maybe more. I don't know. I'm kind of an eager girl.
She's an eager girl. Jen's real generous.
I got no shame.
Maybe that's what Jen's short for, is generous.
Generous.
If you were a rapper, that could be your fucking name.
Oh, generous.
Generous. That's what I'm going to call you from now on. So, anyway, please subscribe to all the good stuff to the Bullhucker podcast. Is there a website to the Club Tap Room?
There is not. There used to
Facebook?
be. There's one probably still in existence. I think the email was actually "I'm drunk at the Club Tap" that one of our previous
Nice.
employees set up,
Nice.
but we're not active on it by any means.
Is there a
anymore.
Facebook?
Facebook, we are. Yes,
So,
absolutely.
if you look at the on the description of the YouTube or whatever you get your podcast, we'll put a link for the Facebook for the Club
Right
Tap
on.
Room there, and for Picking Out Barbecue.
Yes, as well.
Is there a-
Facebook as well?
Okay.
Again, I'm not as active on there as I probably should be,
Okay, but the information how to get a hold of you.
is on there. Yes,
Okay,
absolutely.
so
Yeah.
we'll have all those links so you can go check it out if you need a good catering service. So you've done that for how long?
That's been about 13 years now, I guess it's been.
Really?
2008 or 9.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's be about right. So
Going strong, and the food's great.
the
Thank
food
you.
is good.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
they used to book you at DFA when I worked in the plant,
Yes. Yeah.
and you'd spend all day out there because you'd have to hit both shifts.
Yeah, we would do the
Yeah.
day and night. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I have a question because I was actually online last night looking to see if you had a website to see if you guys serve any other food besides your Thursday night prime rib.
As far as the club, we have the Thursday night prime ribs. If I have any left over, I do sandwiches on Fridays for lunch that I shave down in a variety of sandwiches. And then we do spaghetti on Monday nights regularly. We have a APA pool league here that's on Monday nights, and we'll throw some different things in. Just depends on what barbecue events we have going on. But set-wise, it's Monday night.
Spaghetti
and,
Mondays, prime rib Thursdays.
rib on Thursdays. Yeah.
Good to know.
We do
Good
a
to
variety.
know.
Sandwiches the next day.
On the next day, yeah, if I have any left over.
Right.
Yeah.
They used to do Egley Bar and Grill when I go to Ray to deliver for Budweiser. Joel Coleman. What's up, Joel?
Oh, yeah.
They do the same thing. They make sandwiches the next day, but those sandwiches are the hot item in town.
Oh, yeah.
Like, all those farmers would show up. So, Joel, we'd always trade them beer for lunch.
Yeah. Christine usually will text,
Yeah.
mass text out, either Thursday night later if we know if we have them sandwiches, or Friday, and they're usually sold out before we get here. To get set up to do them. So
Joel would threaten the twins. There's 2 old ladies that are twins out there. They ran the bar back in the day that Joel would tell them, like, make sure you send me a sandwich, you know what I mean? So they would have to, because Joel, and they were all redneck. These old women were like redneck, like crazy redneck. You know what I mean? So they love Joel. They just thought he was, because they smell their own, I guess. But the coolest,
Smell their own.
dude, they're the coolest twins ever. Hey, quick story about Marlene and Darlene. What's up, Marlene and Darlene? Marlene or Darlene.
Is this a lesbian couple by
No,
any-
they're twins.
I just okay. I was
They're
just
twins.
I had to
No.
know just because what a great.
No.
We met through the grace of God, Marlene and Darlene. Hey, we got our Subarus.
We used to give them a case of Budweiser, not Bud Light. Darlene would drink Budweiser heavy because she didn't know puss. And so one day she tells me, "Hey Larry, the Budweiser Event Center, can you get tickets to something like that?" I go, "Yeah, probably." She goes, "Well, I want to go watch wrestling with my granddaughter." Because they had the WWF with her. I said, "I'll see what I can do."
Did she say wrestling?
Sure, yeah, it's wrestling.
Wrestling.
Yeah, wrestling. I can tell you all the racist stuff. I think they thought I was Italian, and I never stopped them from believing that because they say some pretty horrible shit to people, man. But I loved them. They were so great. Anyway, two hateful little shits. Anyway, so I caught my boss, and I get her suite tickets. 2 tickets to the Budweiser suite for her and her granddaughter, right? And I tell her, and she's like, "Oh, that's great," because their whole family's going. They got tickets. But she goes, "I'm going to take the granddaughter, and we'll sit in the suite because it's her birthday." I said, "That'd be cool." I said, I don't know why I told her this. I said, "Darlene, and don't forget, everything that suite is paid for, man. So drink all the beer you want, man. Eat all the hot dogs, hamburgers, whatever. Who gives a shit?" And she did. It got so bad, they had to make a rule because she got shit-faced. The granddaughter's like 10, right? So they had to stop her. They had to prove that her son had to come up and say, "No, I'm driving. She's not taking the kid anywhere." It was then a rule that you had to be there. If you got tickets for somebody, you had to take them to be responsible for them. Because Charlie
You got to play clean up.
She got fucked up at this thing, man.
So you're the reason for the babysitting suite rule?
Yeah. So,
Thanks, Larry.
Yeah, but they were borderline mad, but borderline impressed at how much she could drink. And she was probably Christine's size, your wife's size. I mean, maybe a little shorter. She was a little thing, man, but dude, she could pound the beer, bud. She got all drunk and screaming shit at the wrestlers. It's like, "Did you have fun, Darlene?" She goes, "I had a great time." I said, "That's good because you're probably not going back."
You're not going back.
Just so you know, you're on a weird list with the Budweiser event
Weird
center.
list, and I'm never going with you. So,
but anyway, they used to do the prime rib sandwiches. It was a hot ticket item, so definitely come check that out. All the Facebook stuff will be in a link, so check out their Facebook and come check it out. And if you need a good caterer, you cater for everything, right?
Everything. Weddings, funerals,
Yeah.
sadly.
Yeah, I've seen it.
You name it, birthdays, just get-togethers, reunions.
Yeah, because we talked with Rick, and he said you're the cook of the family. So
Yeah. I enjoy it. I've been lucky, man. I love what I do. I
Yeah.
still do. So I've been very lucky in that sense.
do you miss the actual restaurant?
I do. I miss
Yeah.
those days, definitely. I grew up there. It was our home away from home, most definitely.
Right.
But I've been privileged in the sense I still get to run my own businesses,
Right.
And they're a lot of work, but
Sure.
I've got my right hand, my wife, and Rick's obviously a huge part of it too.
well,
both.
your father
So,
left behind a beautiful legacy that
Thank
you
you.
guys have managed to keep up all these
Thank you.
years, which I think is great.
Well, thank you.
It doesn't happen very often. He was a great guy, by the way.
Thank you.
And
Yeah.
you guys have kept it up and kept it going and kept the Stroh name behind it.
I appreciate that.
And in a small town, that's what matters to me.
Hey, well, thank you. And my mom's a huge part of it as well. My mom actually worked at the Chicken Inn before my dad bought it, and then
Interesting.
she worked for
Is that where they
Lowski's.
met?
Yes, I believe
Fascinating.
so. Yeah.
Can you do the chicken in song?
Hey, don't chicken out, chicken in. That one. I've
never
got
heard
it on tape now.
Do you
actually?
really?
Yeah.
Well, then I want
On
that a copy
cassette
of that.
tape. Okay.
Oh, okay.
I was
Yeah,
trying
I'll
to
get
sing
you
it
one.
earlier.
Yeah, I was thinking of implementing it into new Bob Stock ad or Bob FM. See if I can with an ad somehow play it in with the club or something.
Rick thinks they might have that on because they said that it was played every morning on the radio.
Every morning. You could hear it every morning on KFTM.
And it must have been right around the time of Swap Shop. Otherwise,
Yes,
I would not
yeah.
have it in my head still so
On the way to
clearly, 'cause
school.
we used
That's
to
when
listen
you'd
to
hear
Swap
it.
Shop.
I guess I've never heard it. Like when you said it, maybe once I hear it, it'll click.
Well, and it was very long. I mean, I remember it being a whole thing. There's always something cooking at Stroh's Chicken Inn.
My dad used to brag about it, that he had these singers down in Nashville or whatever, wherever the KFTM would have sent it off to have it sang or sung for the advertisement. But
That's cool.
I've still got a copy. Yeah.
Very
cool.
nice.
I'll have to bring it down.
And I got to tell you, though, Rick already told us he doesn't do shit around here. It's all you. So he gave you all the credit, just so you know.
He's the phone guy. Rick's the salesman, you know,
That's
and
what he
he's the
said.
one that does all the bookings and the invoicing and whatnot as far as the catering side goes. He'll still partake, and he's just as much a part of this place.
He
as
doesn't
we
claim
all
it.
are,
He says he
you know.
just shows up, eats, drinks, and
Yeah.
leaves. And
He's got a long
This
history
is a
here.
very
too.
silent partner.
That's what he said. He
Yeah.
says he's barely here. He just shows up to eat something and drink, and then he leaves the rest to you. So there you go. Your brother gives you all the props in the world.
Most
so,
props to him as well.
yeah,
And my better half.
and he actually beat us both. So up Rick's ass. Just so
Yeah,
we're
right.
just so
That's
we're right. He did a good job. It was crazy because the story that was the Bullhucker is the one we both bid on. I mean, I thought
Yeah.
that was true. We
Absolutely true.
Because I said, which one do you think is true? And you said which one it was. And I was like, I agree with that wholeheartedly. And then, when he flipped that damn thing over, I was like, get out of here. Stroh's a liar. Rick Stroh's a good liar.
Well, so it does
He
make
is a car
huge
salesman.
Yeah,
difference.
that's true. A used car salesman.
I forgot about that. It does make
No.
a huge difference if it's a half fabricated story because
Right.
just interchanging a name
Right.
can throw us off completely. It was me instead
Right.
of somebody else.
He is a car salesman.
That's what we
I
learned
bought my
today.
pickup kind of from Rick. He wasn't a salesman.
Yeah.
He was the finance guy over here at
Right.
Transwest.
Which is what he does. Yeah.
And I sat down and said, I want you to sell me the car. He's like, I'm not a salesman. I was like, well, I trust you. So you sell me the car. And he's like, I'll find you somebody. I'm like,
Does he still sell cars?
He is the finance manager, I believe, over here at McDonald.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I knew he had used to, but I don't keep up as much.
old slick Rick. So, all right. Well, Ryan, are you ready to tell some stories, my man?
I am.
All right.
I am.
Jen, you want to read them off?
Yes, I do. Okay, so the first one is putting the high back in high school, which is great. Granny's got the goods on Pam and Tommy. And peeping Tomas.
Tomas?
Tomas.
Okay. Well, you picked first last time, so am I going to pick first this time?
Go for it. You
Okay,
pick.
all right. I always take the one I want to hear the most, and I stay away from it because I always want to hear it last. So I'm going to pick Granny's Got the Goods on Pam and Tommy.
Granny's got the goods on Pam and Tommy. So this has to be 1996, 7. I had moved back to Fort Morgan here.
From where?
From Seattle. I moved to Seattle
wow.
briefly, just south of Seattle. Back,
Wow.
I left school here and went to Fort Collins. Lived in Fort Collins for, I guess, a couple years. And then I was working at Outback Steakhouse in Fort Collins. And we all had this whim to move to Seattle. Me and he's now my brother-in-law and another couple guys that we lived with in Fort Collins. And we decided to move to Seattle, hang out at Kurt Cobain's house,
Really?
whatever. We were into the grunge scene and everything else and having a good time, young, dumb, you know how it is.
Right.
And
You were the first person to guess when I posted a picture of Kurt Cobain's house. I put it
I've
online,
stood
put
right
where
there
am I
and
on
taken that
Facebook.
same picture.
And Ryan, within 2 minutes, is like, "You're at Kurt Cobain's house."
Totally.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
But I transferred with the Outback Steakhouse up there, found a place in Federal Way, Washington, just about 10 miles outside of where we were living. And then we moved back here in early 96, or late in 96, I guess it would have been. So this would have been about 97. I had moved back to town, went back to the restaurant, had a job always. Always knew I would come back to town and always
Right.
had the idea of taking over the family business. And I was living in an apartment that Rick had owned at the time. My brother Rick owned quite a few apartment rentals around town at that time. And I was living in the basement unit. And my grandmother Stroh, my father's mom, lived in a little house over on Euclid. And she was up there in age and had, I guess the family had decided, or my dad and whoever had decided that she needed to be moved over to Valley View, I think is the old folks' home she moved to. So since my dad owned her house, my grandmother's house, and working at the restaurant, which is just a block away from that house, I decided to move into my grandmother's house when she moved to Valley View. And in the process of putting in change of address forms, my grandma had to fill one out, or my dad did on her behalf, to have her mail forwarded to Valley View.
Right.
I'm single, bachelor life, Y'all get the Adam and Eve magazines.
Right.
Pam and Tommy had just come out.
The tape.
The tape. So I ordered that amongst whatever other videos and whatnot. Never showed up. Never showed up. Never showed up.
Oh, no.
So the post office had forwarded
Oh no.
my box of Adam and Eve videos
Oh no.
to Valley View.
To your grandmother.
And Valley View, they used to, as she was a new resident or whatever they're considered, you know, she
Right.
was still grandma, she was still with it and whatnot. Well, they used to allow I guess the residents there or whatnot to either have a communal little seating of a viewing of a video or of a movie that whoever would bring in or they would play for the residents.
Now, it stands to reason. Are you allowed to watch porn in the privacy of your own resident?
I guess,
elderly
I don't
resident
know.
home and at full volume.
Yeah, right.
Let's hear how this
So-
finishes out. It might surprise us, but I don't think so.
Apparently, yeah, my grandma picked, she had no clue. I don't know, she was probably 85, 87, whatever she was at the time. Well, she had picked one of those videos to put in for the viewing hour of the residents there at Valley View.
No.
I was not present, thank God. But who knows what it was like at the old folks' home that night.
You know what? I bet they finished that damn video.
I never did get it back. So I don't know.
It was put in the archives for later, for rental.
It's been 25 years and Ryan Stroh
Yeah.
has yet to still watch the Pam and
Yeah,
Tommy video.
I'm still waiting.
Did she ever say anything to you?
I don't recall, honestly. My dad, I know he's the one that brought me back the box and was like, this got forwarded to
Oh,
Grandma's unit over there at Valley
oh
View.
no.
So
And she showed it to all the residents.
apparently, yeah, they had seen it, but like I say, I wasn't present by any stretch and don't know.
When it makes you wonder if it was so anonymous that it just said Adam and Eve on the label.
Oh,
And
yeah, right.
She thought it was going to be some lovely biblical
story. Yes, she was very religious.
Well,
So
I do love Jesus,
knows.
so let's watch this.
And then it came to, oh God, oh God.
Pam and Tommy's kind of like the Adam and Eve video, I would assume, right?
And Tommy's got the long hair. She's like, that must be the new Jesus. Well, I would say so because he's definitely blessed. Look at that thing. My God. Put it away for to bite somebody, Tommy. Oh, that's fantastic.
Oh my goodness.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love it. How old were you at this time?
I would have been 22, 3,
Oh, so,
going on 23.
but in her eyes, still a kid.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah,
She's like,
absolutely.
Ryan's into the pornography.
Yeah.
He's going to turn into a monster.
And half the residents probably thinking, oh, my Lord. Oh, my Lanta.
Thank God Stroh's here. Lighten this shit up, you know.
And what was her first name?
Lydia.
Did Lydia become like the Valley View hussy at that point?
No,
Like,
I
hey,
don't think
Lydia.
so. No, she was.
Did old Joe come by knocking at her door at night? Hey, Lydia, what's
Maybe.
up?
I like your videos, Lydia. What's going
Adam's here.
on?
Adam's here.
Yeah, time to bite that apple, Lydia. That's awesome.
Oh my goodness, that's great.
Okay,
That's
so
horrible.
right off the bat, I hope this story's true. That's the one I hope is true, that your grandma gets your big box of porn.
Imagine the incident report that's on file at Valley View over this.
or the nurse who walks in and has to do like do I stop them or not? Because they're all of age to watch this shit, you know? Maybe, because you've heard like STDs are rampant in senior homes because, yeah, they still get it on.
They
don't-
just
you know,
willy nilly. And
Yeah.
when they should be allowed to, but
Right.
yeah,
Like you
group
say,
porn.
they're
Wow,
all consenting
that's
adults,
ballsy.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never even done group porn in my generation.
Well, you never had Ryan as a grandson.
That's
So, I mean,
right.
Yeah. Stick around.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, and the kids nowadays with the porn, you get it so easy. You had to actually order it
Right.
back in the day.
Yeah.
You go to the store and buy it, you know.
Yeah.
Find
Buying
it.
money orders.
Remember the scrambled porn where it was all messed up and you'd sit there and just hope to catch a nipple or
Yeah,
something
right.
on the scrambled porn?
On Skinamax or whatever.
Yeah, now they just Google in any 5 freaky words they can think of in their
Yeah.
heads and
Bam, it's
it's
right there.
boom.
And there's something custom
Custom for those 5
yeah.
words, yeah.
It's probably made our society
They
a
can
lot worse.
Oh,
It
yeah,
really probably
I
has.
call it detail freaky. Because you can get as freaky as you
Oh,
want
yeah.
with
Yeah.
your,
Every fetish.
Yeah.
It's not good. I don't. Maybe that's me getting old, but it's not.
Right.
money shot to the ear, consequent ear infections. Boom! There's my video.
1,300 videos.
I'm really into
Yeah.
ear infections caused by splooge, I guess.
Splooge. Nice word, Jen. Splooge.
I was trying to think of a better word. Semen is so sad.
Yeah.
It reminds me of, limp penis, semen.
Yeah. Well, that's right off the bat. Like I said, I'm hoping that one's true. What do you think?
I'm hoping that one's true too. But I'm the visual of an old man not seeing porn for a long time and then deciding he's just going to whip it out and furiously masturbate in a group of people is so hard for me to.
But that's
so
good
easily for me to envision, yet so hard for me to swallow.
That's the thing you have to look forward to in life is you can get away with that kind of shit when you're old because you're like, is that not right? You guys are playing this shit. I don't,
Just whip it out on the street and go for it. Saggy balls and all.
What are you going to do, Saggy balls and all. Old balls. What movie is that?
Old balls.
Old ball. Oh, Adam Sandler.
It's definitely Adam Sandler.
Big Daddy.
Oh, yeah, it is Big Daddy. Old balls.
Yeah, okay. All right, Jen. We got one down.
Okay, I'm going to go with you. The last one I want to hear is the fun one. So I'm going to go with Peepin' Tomas.
All right.
Peepin'
Tomas. This would be preceding that. That would be, I was probably 13.
We went to school with a kid named Tomas.
Yeah?
One.
I don't know about if it's this one, but
yeah,
I've changed the name just to keep.
Oh, you changed the
Okay.
name. So Tomas, we're not going to be able to rip you to shreds over this, whoever you were.
So we, as kids, we used to run around the neighborhood. We didn't have cell phones and all that stuff, obviously, and we had to entertain ourselves. So we used to a variety of things, playing with fireworks, BB guns, of course, slingshots, the whole thing. Run the neighborhood well after dark, all night.
Poop on fire on the doorsteps.
Yes, partaken in some of that sort of antics.
Sure.
A lot like those lines we used to do and do the end knocking, whatever they call it these days.
Ditch.
Yeah.
Ding dong ditch.
There's plenty of that. Run from the old people if they get angry.
Yeah.
Well, we used to go around and my buddy used to carry this bag, satchel, whatever. His father had been in the Army for years and had a satchel that he shared the same name as his father. He was just a junior. So it was written on there very blatantly on this old Army bag, the name of the kid's father. I'll save his name. And we used to use that. We'd run around town doing whatever, dressed in black and driving around, knocking on doors, running.
Yeah.
We would take sprinklers and set them up by somebody's door, and one of us would sit at the faucet and ring the doorbell, and then when they'd answer, we'd kick on the sprinkler.
That's a good one. I've never thought about that one.
Yeah. He had this satchel, and we would go around through their gardens and catch or steal their tomatoes or vegetables or whatever else and load them up. And we'd go and hide in the cemetery or in a cornfield, wherever. Plenty of traffic going by. We would hit the stoplights over there in front of Columbine School to stop cars, and then we would pelt these cars.
Throw the veggies at them.
Tomatoes or vegetables or whatever. Just, kids. Harmless fun, I'd like to think, but I think back on some of it, oh my goodness.
If someone hit your car with a tomato today, you'd be furious.
Totally. If I didn't swerve off the road and wreck, something splatters your window.
You'd be so angry.
Well, this one night we're looking for a good stakeout of where to hide. We've got our satchel full of tomatoes and stuff from the nearest garden. And it was well after dark, later at night, 8, 9 o'clock probably. And we find this house. I won't say where exactly, but there's a solo light on, and it happens to be the bathroom light. Well, we're running through people's backyards, climbing fences, trying to be careful. And one of us, my friend, it's actually me, my friend, and his younger brother. His younger brother climbs up through this carport area to see in the bathroom, and it's this lady in the bathtub, grooming herself, I'll say. And
she's shaving it down.
yeah, so he's looking.
Okay, I didn't know she was grooming herself for fun or.
Okay. Yeah. Coaxes us up there to
landscaping.
Partake, and so we're all, getting our little Peepin' Tomas visuals there of this poor innocent woman. And the younger brother slips off this picnic table style thing and falls into must have been a trash can full of pop cans. So the most noise you could possibly make while you're trying to get away with such a thing, little 13 and 12-year-olds running around.
Right.
And
with little boners.
Yeah, right. Yeah, totally
Let 'em all hatch back.
falls into this pile of cans or whatever the hell it was, and makes
Oh
this
my gosh.
tremendous ruckus. Well, of course, the last glimpse I remember as we're all jumping off this table is seeing her scurry out of the tub, and
Right.
my guess is she's obviously the one who went and dialed either 911 or the police department, because we hear, like, I don't know if it was a combination of maybe just circumstance that there was other sirens going off or something in town. You remember the old one that used to be up above my KFC area that they would do, or when the fire department, maybe they still use it, whatever they broadcast it through now.
Super loud annoying one. They've
like the
since
tornado
removed it.
one.
Tornado
Yes,
siren,
yes.
sure.
Every Friday.
Well, we
siren.
heard the sirens, let me put it that way.
Oh,
and
no.
as we're trying to scurry out of this place, we're assuming these cops are locating to this place because this woman, God knows what she said over the phone, but either way, they were in a hurry. In our speed of getting out of there, we relocated a couple blocks away. Luckily, we got to jump on the police coming, to respond to this. But we didn't have the bag full of our tomatoes.
Oh no.
Oh shit! It got left behind.
And like I said, this
With a
bag
name on
has my friend's father's name written all the way
an
out
army vet's
on an
name.
army bag.
Oh no.
And as the cops start pulling up or whatnot to this scene of this house or this location, I remember we were blocks away and watching through some evergreens, hiding back there and thinking, oh my God, we don't have the bag. Well, the little brother did manage to somehow sneak back in through the backyard and retrieve this bag, luckily, because I've never been punished for anything that occurred from that.
Right.
But somehow we managed to get away without that bag being left there full of our tomatoes and evidence
Wow.
and whatnot. But so
Oh.
that is peeping Tomas.
So when she jumped out of the tub, you guys were so scared you split. You didn't stick around for the full visual of her standing up out of that tub.
We knew the ruckus
What
it was
every
where
boy's
we were
waiting
at
for.
and knew she had heard it and
Right.
had to get the hell out of Dodge. So
And she might have just thought it was a burglar or someone,
yeah,
just
prowler of some sort. It
Yeah,
was
yeah.
just juvenile prowlers, I guess you'd say.
Yeah.
Harmless, but
They don't. Do they do stuff like that? Like, what was big when I was in high school is you would toilet paper somebody's house.
oh yeah, TP in houses.
You know, I don't think that anybody can do anything anymore because everybody's so damn sensitive. Back in the day, look, you were saying we threw tomatoes. Back in the day, anybody would have said, "Oh, damn kids," and drove
Yeah.
on.
Right.
Today,
Possibly.
they'd call the police and make it like a capital crime that this
Yeah.
happened. I was just in Denver a couple years ago, and the homeless people were down there protesting, and somebody a homeless guy threw a rotten orange on my car.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they were throwing eggs and oranges, and I was stuck in the thick of it all. And yeah, I didn't get offended.
You just turned on the wipers?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
just turned
Went
on the
on,
wipers and went on.
Damn
yeah.
Denver.
I
Yeah.
think that today people would absolutely make it just this huge deal, which is pathetic.
Maybe
Right?
it's the Gen Xers, like our generation, or no?
No, our generation should just be like, oh,
Laugh and
haha,
say,
Yeah, I don't
remember
know.
doing
I
that
don't know.
shit,
Damn kids.
Yeah.
I'd still go out ding-dong ditching if there weren't so many Ring doorbells.
When
Right.
I was going to say, you would
Yeah.
think cameras would deter a lot of, like, if
No,
there was
you're
cameras back in the
busted.
day, I would have been
Right.
caught every time,
Oh,
But
we'd all be doing federal time
Yeah.
if there had been cameras.
At
I
the
know
same
I
t-
would be.
At the same
know.
time, cameras obviously don't deter people because
Yeah.
every day we're getting on Facebook, you see a theft here, and people know they're on camera everywhere,
Right.
but
They're trying to protect
it's
themselves.
crazy.
Even when
I don't know.
you could be out in the middle of nowhere and there's probably a GPS
Right,
camera
right.
sitting right on you.
I mean,
yeah.
You're silly not to have. I have in my house. Why
Oh,
wouldn't
yeah.
you?
Yeah, I do.
I wouldn't invest
Had
in
them
that.
in here forever, got to.
Yeah.
Yeah, our house is fully
Yeah.
locked down with cameras too.
Yeah.
You
I've
have to.
never caught anything weird though. Have you ever caught anything weird?
No, I never have really, and
Yeah.
I've got dogs outside that let
Right.
us know if anybody's even
We've
close.
caught
you
some
know?
weird, but my kid runs
Really?
with like some little gangster wannabes. He wants to be a gangster rapper when he grows up. So
course,
he
of course.
he runs with some strange kids, but they always freak out when mom comes out saying, "If you're gonna roll by, better wave," because
I got you.
Yeah, better wave if you're a friend.
Yo, fool, your mom generous.
So yeah,
Be
there's still one kid in town that's one
Generous.
of Owen's really good friends that is literally like, "Your mom is gonna kill me," and I'm like, because one time I came out saying, "Why aren't you waving if you're a friend?" Rolling by our cars, all
Right.
stuff. He still thinks I'm gonna kill him, which is very far from. I couldn't recognize the kid in a million years, so I really don't care. But
That's what makes you a good mom, just because you've never actually just what I'm looking for. You never let him know that's not the truth.
That's right.
Like
Right.
there's something in his head. He's thinking,
Yeah.
she might shoot me.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
That's
Got it.
crazy.
They better be scared because I'm so generous.
Yeah. yo, generous motherfuckers. That's too much, man. You don't see that kind of stuff happening at all anymore, man. I TP'd so many houses in
Yeah, you would see it these
Yeah.
days, I would think, if people
Yeah.
were, and I've had my yard TP'd years ago,
Yeah.
by
Well, and it was all such
younger
good
kids,
fun.
right.
yeah,
You know,
pretty harmless.
Yeah,
right?
very harmless fun.
You
All of
ever
it.
had to clean up a TP yard?
I have had to clean up a TP yard. I have had to clean up lit on fire poop on my front porch.
Yeah.
And I've done both to
Seriously?
people.
Yeah.
You betcha.
I've never had the poop thing on my front door.
We used to, and these guys grew up blocks from me. Like, we all used to run the neighborhood. We'd play ditch 'em, ding dong ditch.
Green Ghost.
Yes.
Used to play over.
What's Green Ghost?
TP
I think it's the
homes,
opposite of like hide and seek, right?
water
Hide and seek
fights.
is everybody goes and hides, and one person tries to find them. And Green Ghost was always one person went and hid, and the
And
group would
everybody
go
was
to
trying
try
to
to
find
find them. If
And
you
the
saw 'em, you-
stairwells over there at the Presbyterian Church was a great hiding spot. So that's where
All
my first
over.
spot I'd go. Boom, you're found.
Yeah, as a kid, you knew everybody's backyard and where you could run, and
Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
We used to just run the neighborhood, and it was a simpler, beautiful time.
yes, it
They don't
was.
do it anymore.
No, because
Yeah.
now we've taught the kids that stranger danger. Somebody might pick you up. I want to tell you, nobody wants your kids. Nobody wants your kids,
Oh,
people.
that's not true. Sadly, no, that's
well,
not true.
unless
Yeah.
if they're going to sell them on the black market for
Right.
dirty shit. But otherwise, nobody actually wants to take your child and raise
Yeah,
it for
remember
you.
the helping hand in the windows when we were kids?
Yeah.
You could do.
Stop
Do you
at
want to
that
buy
house.
these? They give them out to us at grade school,
I
probably,
always
right?
thought
For our
those were
parents to
I
put in
always
the
thought
window.
that was the biggest pervs in town.
right.
I ain't going to that helping hand.
You still got yours up.
Yeah.
That's a come on, I got candy, little boy.
It's like got the one finger left on Jen's.
Yeah.
You know.
Mine's only for boys.
Don't come here for help.
Jen was
17 and older.
Yeah.
Hey, boys. Helping
17.
hand.
We're gonna need you to bump that up a year, Jen. Okay. She meant 18 years old. Okay, I don't want.
Disclaimer.
I don't want to turn this over to the proper authorities. They're generous. You know.
I'm just teasing. I don't like them at any age.
Wow. I'd be scared to have kids this day and age, though, man. It's because on Facebook or online, people are always saying about how we were free as kids and we played outside, but there wasn't as much danger out there because you knew your whole neighborhood. You know?
Yeah, definitely.
It was nuts. Now,
The cold cyber world has definitely created a danger threat and most of these kids are stupid to it, you know.
well, because why wouldn't you?
That's all they
Yeah.
know.
You know.
And I'm sure there was their own dangers back in our day, obviously, too. I think now it probably is and or seems way more widespread because of instantaneous news and instantaneous
true.
news
It's a great
cycle,
point.
constant,
We
you
used
know.
to do prank
It's a great
phone
point.
calls.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
we ended up calling one guy that actually came over across the alley from us, dropped trow, and masturbated for us.
No way.
Yeah, so there was definitely a fair share. He lived at the Waikoloa Hotel.
The Waikoloa?
Uh-huh.
Where's that at?
It's where the Foot and Ankle Clinic is now in the Workforce Center, that building next to
Right north of the
right by the
Masonic
pawn shop.
Lodge.
Yeah.
Oh.
And south
So
of
that used to be an
Cables
old
there.
creepy hotel where people
Yeah.
lived, and we ended up calling some old man there. Yeah, his last name's a very popular name here in town, so I won't say. But
You can tell me when we're done.
we ended up able to con this guy to come over to my friend Jennifer Lewis's, across the street from my friend Jennifer Lewis's house, and he literally dropped trout. We sat up in her room, he masturbated. We're all like,
Oh, my God.
oh my God. We were way
Wow.
too young to be making these crank phone calls.
So there
but
were dangers out
there
there.
were dangers.
It was Ojen.
Yes. There were dangers out there.
Watch out, kids with Jenna Russ.
Creeper.
Oh, you're 16.
We
You're a year away from being
we
safe.
never called him back.
You dead perv. We used to, when I worked at Wendy's, we used to prank call people. We pull the phone out because we had the
While you
portable
were on
phone.
the clock?
No, after work. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's getting high. You know, and that was probably 4 months out of my life. You know what I mean?
Hitting it heavy at Wendy's.
Yeah, of course. You know, and you knew whenever it was really high because the fryer clicked back on. You could hear it. You know what I'm saying? We did. I'm telling you,
Needed some fries.
Oh, why are we missing 5 cases worth of nuggets? I'm like, I'm kind of, but we pulled the phone out and we started. I used to love to prank call people, and we'd laugh our asses off. You know.
Prank calls were the best.
Oh my
Well, we
god.
didn't have to worry about caller ID, so it was truly,
Right.
you didn't know who the
Star
hell it
69
was.
though, right?
Yeah,
Was it Star
right,
69?
Yeah. Yes, I think so. Or that
Star
was the
69
Ida?
didn't come into effect until way later,
After,
though.
yeah.
Yeah.
When I was in high school, it was there.
I was pre-star
Probably.
6'9"
Yeah.
in high school.
Well, I'm old enough. Yeah, we had done prank
how
calls.
old are you?
46. I'll be 47.
Okay,
in
so
July.
maybe it was right on that cusp that I'll be 50 in just a couple of days.
Yeah.
But as a kid, I mean, even then, we predate caller ID in
Right,
general. So
right.
yeah, so you could call prank calls all the time. There used to be even a phone number you could call. At least in Fort Morgan, it would ring back to your house. Remember that? So you could test your phone lines or something
Right.
like that.
Really?
Yeah, you
Time
could-
and temp.
There used to be a phone number for detected
Yeah.
damn time and
Yeah.
temperature, isn't that nuts,
Yeah.
dude?
867-3031.
It's
Yeah.
got to be alien for kids to know
right.
that at no point in time you'd answer the phone back in the day not knowing who's on the other line.
Totally.
You know? Hello?
And missed calls. If you weren't home, you didn't get it. I remember when answering machines came out, I
Right.
think, when
Right.
we got our first one at least.
And now we look at phone numbers and just turn our phone upside
Yeah,
down.
we totally, yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Or you would
I
drive.
don't care to know who's calling today.
All right.
You would drive distances without a cell phone. You would if you broke down, you walked your ass
Yeah.
somewhere to a payphone. You
Yeah.
know, you always kept change in your pocket. See, we talked about earlier on Rick's podcast. He brings up what school does he bring up? Adina.
The Adina
Adina.
school, yeah.
And how there's stories out there, and there was a community out there at one point in time, and you were saying when the baby boomers die, that all that goes away. Well, see, our generation has that stuff too. The stuff that we grew
Right,
up with.
true.
That these kids are like, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, what?
Seems so foreign to them.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It's getting crazy. You get old enough to where you look back, and it's not that far ago in your brain.
No, yeah.
But when you start explaining stuff to them, and you're like, wow, I guess I have been on this rock for
A while.
quite some time.
Yeah, they don't have a clue. I'll never forget the first time we took Owen to a hotel room, and he literally looked at the rotary dial phone and asked me what it was, and I just thought, is he an idiot or what?
Yeah.
And then it occurred to me, why would he know what that is?
Yeah.
Why would he have any clue?
Well, I remember Christine's one son, the stepson. He's her middle child, and I remember the first time. And this has been a few years back. I calling somewhere from our house phone, and actually there was a busy tone, and he had no idea what the busy signal.
Oh.
He had no idea what that was, and gave it to. Oh, it's a busy signal. Well, what's that? He had no clue.
Oh wow!
And he's like, just turned 30, I believe, 31.
That's
But
nuts.
Isn't that
he's old
amazing?
enough he didn't recognize what a busy signal was.
Wow.
Most kids these days probably wouldn't. They would
Well,
have no clue. They're
yeah,
not
they
used to
wouldn't
it.
have a
It's call waiting.
I mean, it's not the business signal. We know what it is, but it's very alerting sounding if you
Yeah.
think about it.
Bzz, 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 yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy.
I think a nuclear bomb's about to drop over there.
The phone's gonna blow.
Or when you had to call someone, you were growing up, you want to call a girl or boy or whatever, you do probably have to talk to one of their parents. To answer the phone.
Yeah.
I mean,
or meet them. Like, I remember the years of, like, Owen telling me he's going to go for a sleepover, and I never met these parents. I don't know half of his friends' parents.
Right,
And
right.
that,
Yeah.
for me, that was very foreign, because you're like, I'm just sending my kid off willy-nilly to, and you just assume, well, they have kids, so I'm assuming if they kept them alive, they can keep mine
Right,
alive for
yeah.
one night.
well, back in the day, though, I mean, your parents knew each other because they had to there was no cell phone to keep track of you. So I know that's how my mom kept track of me, is
Yeah.
that I'd go to the Cordova's house or the Deal's house, and they'd call, my mom called
Yeah.
their mom, and, have you seen them? Yeah.
They really over there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they just left about 5 minutes ago. Headed to
Constant
7-Eleven.
track.
Huh.
You can set up a GPS on them only long enough till they figure it out and just delete I got lost that at like 15. He's like,
Yeah.
you don't have to keep me on GPS. I can just delete this app. Oh.
What's his rapper name, by the way?
I don't know. I told him he should be O-Nazi because he's so Aryan looking and not that proprietary. He's going to need something proprietary. But on SoundCloud,
Well, he can't use the symbol.
On SoundCloud, he goes by Insanity999.
Okay.
Ooh.
So he's got some songs out there.
Well, check it out. Insanity 999. SoundCloud.
Insanity999.
Sanity.
Insanity.
Okay, that's what I thought. All right. All right. 2 down. You haven't disappointed yet, Mr. Stroh. I like it. Do you have one in mind yet?
I don't, but I
Okay.
am so excited to hear Putting the High back in high school.
All right, let's hear Putting the High back in
Because
high
I
school.
fully remember Ryan back in high school. I was a little older, but
Not much.
not much.
Are you trying to say Mr. Stroh wasn't an angel in high school? Is that what you're trying to say?
I know he wasn't an angel in high
Yeah.
school.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, this sounds like I had no supervision, like we're talking about his parents. I mean, I did, but yeah, I was on the other side of the law
I don't
often.
think any of us had a whole lot of
Yeah.
supervision back then.
And like I said,
Yeah.
I think a lot of the fun things we got kicks out of was pretty harmless.
I
You
made
know,
crime of the week in the paper twice.
I wasn't out
So,
robbing
we were how to
things
control
or
children.
stealing things. I stole some tomatoes, but
Yeah.
perishables.
Sure.
Putting the high back in high school. So I graduated in '94, just like you probably.
Right.
This would be about '92, I guess. I would have been end of sophomore, early junior year of high school. And here at this high school, at the restaurant, we used to have, I worked with tons of people, different waitresses and whatever else.
The restaurant was still open then,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
yeah, well,
It was
yeah.
in its last throes right around then.
Well, not then. I mean, my dad had gotten it back because my dad had it from '73 until '86, '87 when he sold it after his brother, my uncle, had passed away to
Okay.
more boxers that used to run the Scotch and Steer in Brush.
Oh, sure.
Oh,
Boxers
wow.
took it over from '87 or whatnot until my dad got it back in 1990.
Okay.
So
So you
restaurant
were
was
really up
going,
and running.
yeah, it was
Okay.
going, and I was working over there cooking or whatnot, still in high school, and I was buying some speeder pills,
Like White
black
Crosses.
black beauties
Black
or whatever they call them, and
beauties.
yellow jackets.
Yeah.
Well, they were just ephedrine pills, basically, like
Right.
caffeine pills, I would guess,
Right.
because
Right.
one of these coworkers, waitress, used to buy them from a head shop, I think Mellow Yellow or one of those up in Fort Collins, Greeley,
Freakies,
which
yeah.
was all
We
that
all
was
used to
around
take
back
them.
then. I mean,
Right.
pot was obviously still very illegal.
Right.
We all knew that, obviously. We all partook in whatever we did. And I was a little stoner kid, I partook
Right.
plenty over
Right.
the years I had. And I was buying these little speeder pills or whatnot and giving them to some friends of mine or whatever. And he had the bright idea of selling them. So he would sell them 50 cents or $1 or whatever it was a pill,
Oh, no.
and got caught doing this at school, apparently. So I had no idea that he'd gotten caught. I didn't hear anything about it at school. I didn't hear anything around town. I mean, it's not like I was some big organized, drug cartel by any stretch. This
Right.
kid gets caught selling them. And so the story goes that I was at work one night at the restaurant cooking. This is on a Thursday night, I'll never forget. I get a call, and it's my buddy, the one that I was giving the speeder pills to. He says, "Hey, you got any pot? You got any grass?" And I said, "Yeah, I got a little bit or whatever." And I wasn't a dealer by any stretch. I had to find mine like everybody
Sure,
else
sure.
did. But I was a consumer, plain and simple. And I did have a little bit or whatever spare that I would sell, or whatever, give to him or whatnot. So he says, "Well, I'm at the school. I'm at my brother's wrestling match, and you have to bring it to me." And he is younger than me. I did have a license at the time. I thought, well, I can leave here. This is, I don't know, 7, 8 o'clock at night. We're still open. I'm a cook on duty, not the only one, but I figured I could dart over to the school, give him his little bit of bud, and roll back and be back to the restaurant, no problem. I used to ditch school with this kid all the time when we'd hang out. I would go in the mornings, they'd take roll at the class, and I would get up and see you Monday.
Then
And
you
it might
leave.
be Monday. I would
Yeah.
roll right out after
Right.
they had taken attendance and shit. I had
Right.
been doing this for quite some time. I was a little stoner kid,
Sure.
back in the day when the kids stood across the street. Well, you can't even do that these days. I mean, cigarettes, I'm
That's
talking.
right. I forgot you
you know.
couldn't stand right there on
Yeah.
the corner across the street to smoke.
Yeah, all the cliques of different kids. You know how it is. Well, I was friends with everybody. I got high, partied, did whatever. Anyway, I would hang out with this kid during lunch hours or whenever I would ditch, and we'd go cruise around. We'd go to 7-Eleven and play video games when they used to have the big upright arcade games
Oh,
in
yeah.
there, all
Street
the time.
Fighter, baby.
Hang out, whatever.
I still talk about that video arcade room over
All the
there.
time, yeah.
Yeah.
So I give him, he gets in the car. I pull up to the high school there. He comes out of the gym to get in the car and give him the pot or whatnot. And he gets in. I start to leave the parking lot. And he says, I can't leave. My mom's still inside. We're watching my brother wrestle. And I'm like, well, shit, okay, I guess. I pull over to the side. He gives me $5, a $5 bill. I had literally probably not even enough to make a joint, not even the skinniest joint you could make. You know what I mean? It was literally $5 of a little bit of grass. He takes off, goes back into school. I take off. I thought, well, the hell with it. I'm going to stop by my brother-in-law's house and sister's house. McDonald's used to be across the street compared to where it is now, across the street from there. I swung in McDonald's through the drive-thru. I spent that $5 on a large order of fries, I think, is what I bought. I leave there. I head to my sister's house, which is just blocks away, a small town here. A couple minutes later, I'm sitting in there. I'm asking my brother-in-law, because his nephew had been wrestling as well. I said, how'd Jay do? Oh, he did so-and-so, whatever, blah, blah, blah. He says, but I ran into my friend on his way. I'm saving names here, obviously.
Call him Frank.
Frank. I ran into Frank. He was running back into the school when I was walking out here coming home. And I said, oh, that's weird. I didn't comment on anything, that I just met up with him or what have you. And he said, and I saw, I won't say the cop's name either. I'll say Bob. I saw Bob chasing him. Well, we all know who the local cops are or whatnot. Bob's not his real name, I'll be honest there.
I can think of
And
one
he says,
cop that would love to get after us.
He says,
like that.
he was chasing him. And I said, okay, didn't think anything of it. There's a knock on the front door at my sister's house.
Oh, shit.
And it's Bob. Pushes in the door, comes in with his badge and his hand on his gun and says, I'm Lieutenant Bob with the FMPD. You need to stand up. You're under arrest for the sale of marijuana. And I'm like, I think it was instant shock. Instant shock had to be.
Right.
I stand up, it takes my wallet out, everything, cuffs me up, takes me out. I come out the front door, and there's like 5 cop cars out here. And I had driven over there, and I was using my mother's car at the time. All I had in my mother's car was literally a pipe, and it was actually a tobacco pipe,
Right.
whatever in the glove box, a cigarette lighter. They haul me to jail, whatnot. I get my phone call or whatever call. I'm a minor at this point. I'm only like 17.
Right.
I get hauled in there. I think I called my mom. I'm still not showing back up to work at the restaurant. My dad usually would come in close to closing time. He shows up, hasn't heard from me, hasn't seen me, whatnot. They ship me to Brighton Boys Home that evening.
Oh, no.
Stay the night. Come back in the morning for my first court arraignment and whatnot. Chained up like I'm Charles Manson with belts and, the chains and handcuffs and leg cuffs and all this work. Like it, it blows my mind
Like
because
you're a
today,
fugitive.
pot, there's probably every other kid, or not every other kid,
Right.
but, it's a common occurrence probably at the
Sure.
school.
It's nothing.
Yeah. But I find out at that very moment, somehow throughout the night, obviously my brother had found out, my dad had found out. They're standing there in the courtroom as I'm being led in. My brother had found out somehow that this kid, Frank, my buddy, had worn a wire.
Oh.
Because he had gotten caught selling these speeder pills at school, and so he was rolling over, basically, working his way up the chain.
CIing out on
Frank.
you.
Yeah,
Frank.
not cool, Frank.
Frank, you
And
blow.
and I get
Literally.
it, in hindsight, I get it. He's a young kid. We were all young, dumb kids,
Right,
so he's
right.
saving his own butt. Anyway, I got charged with the Class 4 felony of selling marijuana because of the drug-free zones,
Right.
Hence the reason, he had already been instructed, I can't leave the school.
Oh, right, 'cause
They
back
wanted the
then-
transaction to
on
happen
the school property.
on the school grounds.
Yeah, back then it was like 3 times.
Oh,
or
yeah.
4 times
Minimum
the amount
5
of
years in
fines.
jail or whatever. Yeah.
It's not entrapment at all. I mean,
Now they're handing out dope to kids left and right. It's
Oh,
just
right.
in the form of pharmaceuticals.
Yeah.
Forget the weed.
Yeah.
Do you ever see Frank anymore?
Oh, yeah. Frank's still around. And actually, he's still a good buddy of mine.
Is he
it's
still
one of those
CIing
things.
for the city?
I don't believe so, no. He found his way into some
We're
other
gonna need his real
trouble.
name after the show.
Yeah. He's a good friend still to this day.
Yeah, I guess I see it.
But,
How long did it take to get back that friendship?
a while probably, I will say it's Scared Straight, that old show they used to have or that program. Yeah. It naturally, I've been busted with that.
And how funny that you can get busted selling over-the-counter products.
I know,
that
right?
Yeah,
I
you
know.
can buy those Black Beauties
Yeah.
at Save-O-Mat.
Totally. It's like a 5-hour energy now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I remember those. It's all the ephedrine, the no-dos. And
Yeah.
basically.
Exactly.
Same
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of
I
stuff.
remember the
Caffeine
Black
pills.
Beauties. I think that was probably the first drug I ever purchased.
Oh, yeah.
I was in junior high.
Did you get them from me?
No. No, but I got it from somebody we all know and love.
Yeah.
He's really scared of drones and really likes bumblebees.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So
that doesn't narrow it down for me. But
let him talk his trash about being an upstanding citizen. I was 13 and bought him out of a high school locker.
Right.
Yep.
That's it's like when the bust kids with underage drinking, and they make them go into liquor stores and try and.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's total entrapment.
You bet.
We've had our rounds here with that, you know.
Yeah, no, I've seen it. It's kind of cool. Back in the day, Budweiser, I had the long route for a while, so they actually had a system going down 76, all the way from what's that first town past Sterling, where Blues Buffalo stop is.
Creed.
Proctor. It's Proctor. Anyway, all the way to Julesburg. If one of them got hit, they start making phone calls.
Oh yeah.
To the next town over to warn them that these kids are coming. Yeah, man. So
give them a heads up.
Yeah. So I called ahead to Holyoke and I told the liquor store, like, hey, this kid's coming in. I guess he's blonde. This is what the ID says. Kid shows up when Joel and I were delivering, walking around the beer stacks, and Joel's we're watching him. We think he's gonna grab a case and run. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
it's an excuse for Joel to open field tackle this kid and hurt him. You know what I'm saying? Like go ahead. He's looking to kick your ass. He's a sick weapon. And he walked in, tried to buy it, and Brian goes, "Do you have an ID?" He goes, "No." And so he gave him the ID. They have to give the ID, and Brian took it, called the cops right away. So
nice.
that liquor enforcement officer came in, says, "Oh, you did the right thing. Good for you. I'll take the ID back." And Brian goes, "No, you can get it from the cops." And
I tried doing that exact same thing here one time.
Yeah. Oh, they got pissed. Yeah. He goes, "No,
yeah.
you will give it to me." He's like, "No, I called the police. They're coming. You can talk to them, and you can get the ID from them." Oh, yes. Man. I told Brian, you probably put a target on your back.
Because the law allows for me or my employees, if they accept an ID that they believe is even suspicious, even if it turns out to be a legit one, we have the right, as long as we notify the local or the legal authorities within 72 hours. I did the same thing on a sting one time and said, I said, go get them. I know they're outside. Go get them.
Right.
I had added a word or heads up that they were coming through doing them or whatnot.
Right.
And it's not like we're trying to sell to underage people by any stretch.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But there is a fine line, I think, there as far as entrapment goes. But they did. He came in and told me that if I kept that ID, that I would be interfering with an investigation and find myself under all these other charges and whatnot. And it's like, here you go.
Yeah.
You can have it back.
It's all yours.
But it's bogus, you know.
Well,
right.
I can see them doing it if they gave you a couple chances. Like 3 strikes, you get hit 3 strikes, then it's a problem.
Absolutely.
But if they come in the first time, like, you sold to a minor,
Yes.
there's a problem. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You got to take a class or whatever.
Right.
Fine. You know what I'm saying?
And at the end of the day, it's never been a problem to acquire any of it, regardless.
Exactly.
Yeah,
All of us did.
Yeah.
You know,
they can't put a stop to it, no matter how hard they try.
Well, that's an intense story, Ryan.
Yeah.
I never heard anything about that. So, what do you think?
Oh my god! I think for the first time I'm truly stumped.
Are you really?
I am. I don't even have a clear-cut idea.
You don't have a lot of tells, Ryan. I'll give you
No?
that. You don't have a lot of tells. Yeah. I have kind of a one in mind, so we'll see a little bit of one in mind. So, yeah. So what we do now is we rock, paper, scissors to see who has to pick first, right? Loser picks first. How do you rock, paper, scissors?
I have to say, I've watched tons of these episodes, and it's obviously a very popular method of deciding things, but I'm not a big rock, paper, scissors fan or person that I've ever done it a lot in general.
What's your decider game?
I would
Any
say
money,
the
Mo?
4. I know that's against your way, but it's a bam, 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 shoot.
Oh, you're going with Dencia.
It is a 4-pumper. Yeah.
She's the 4-pumper too, yeah. I think Adam is too.
Dencia, the 4-pumper.
The 4-pumper.
I wonder how she'd feel about being regarded to as that.
You know what? She's proud of it. She's proud of it. And she's discussed it on a part of her little 4-pumping
I
cult.
pride myself on 4-pumpers.
All right. All right. We're going to do 3 pumps, though, because that's what you and I are.
That's right.
All right,
3 pumpers.
Are you ready?
Yep. Oh, why?
I am kicking your ass this Jennifer.
I'm a rock, paper, scissors loser.
You know what? Since you joined me today and you came to co-host, I'll go first. Is that fair?
You bet.
Okay. Once again, this is I'm a little stumped, so I'm going to take a shot in the dark here. But I think the putting the high back in high school, I think that might be true. That's a pretty intense story to make up, even part of it. So I think that's true. Peepin' and Tomas, I think he might be a little pervert, so I'm going to go with that one being true too.
I don't know if shaving was so popular back then. That's a questionable thing.
Yeah. This was the 90s.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, maybe she was.
It was just getting started.
Maybe she's progressive. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Maybe.
for some reason, and it breaks my heart into a million pieces to pick this one, but the Granny's got the goods on Pam and Tommy for some reason sticking out. I'd never be so happy to be wrong in my life. I hope that's a true story, but somehow I don't think it is. That'd be hard to look your grandma in the eye after she sees some kind of poor. You know, at least
she's 85, man.
Gives whole
She's
new
got loving
perspective
eyes.
to the golden years.
I could have been weird porn, Grandma. Okay, there was no animals. There's no horse in the porn, so be thankful for that. I'm not a degenerate. So I am going to go with Grandma's got the goods on Pam and Tommy.
Okay, sounds wonderful. See, and I'm thinking about the reaction of all them elderly ladies to Tommy's giant cock. Like, I'd be seriously disheartened if all these 80-year-old women are sitting around going, wow, that's the biggest one I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Because what does that leave for me for the next 30 years?
Yeah.
30 more years of disappointment.
Did you watch the video? Did you watch the video?
I did. And I got to say, Tommy is a giant dick and has a giant dick. And like I said, that's very counterproductive. You can't have both. Nobody wants both.
Well, you can because he does. So good
He does, and I bet you he's single today. Just saying.
Maybe
so.
right now.
Maybe so.
Plus, there's so much lift. It just doesn't work.
Okay, Professor. We get the dynamics of it. Okay.
Experience, generous over here. So I also agree that it would not surprise me at all that some little punk went CI for selling some black beauties in high school back in the day. And no doubt that you guys were pervs and probably peeping in people's windows. I'm dying to know who the brother and brother were. So I also am going to agree with Lawrence. I don't believe that a bunch of old people were sitting around Valley View watching porn together. I think they would have put a kibosh on that, even though I'd like to say they should have the right to. I think that somebody probably went, no, this is inappropriate. So I'm also going to go with Granny's got the goods on Pam and Tommy.
We're going to team up on this one.
We are teaming up on our story.
Oh, my gosh.
Let us be right.
Right, let's see it, buddy.
Dun, da, da, da.
Granny's
Yeah, we did it!
You know what? I'm going to high-five you just out of respect, but I'm a little disappointed that it's not true.
I know, it is truly
the
sad.
part that isn't true is that the videos actually did get forwarded to my grandmother.
At the old folks' home.
At the old folks' home, the Adam and Eve box.
Right.
And whether they opened them or whatnot, I don't recall. They
Right.
definitely did not broadcast it amongst the old folks' home.
And was the Pam and Tommy video actually in the Adam and Eve catalog?
Yes, it
Because
was. That's where I recall, I
After
think,
watching
getting it.
and you need to watch the new series that just
I'll
came out.
have
Because
to,
after
yeah.
watching that, the way they had to get it out into the world was pretty incredible back then. It wasn't just put into a video clearinghouse because it had been stolen.
That's how I recall getting
So
it.
for
I
it to
believe.
get so big, to get the Adam, and,
totally.
I mean, that's
well, especially
big.
having been stolen. I mean, how would they even get away with such a thing?
Well, it eventually
But
got taken over by like a porn mogul.
is that what it was?
Yeah.
And maybe that's,
And
how
that's
I got the
probably how
copy.
it ended up. Look at dude's trying to get in over here. I need some beer.
Oh.
Well, he's got an hour.
It's been a while, yeah.
So, yeah.
He forgot about daylight savings time.
Well,
Maybe.
Ryan, I got to tell you, the other Stroh brother totally stumped us, and we got you.
I guess I made up for it, huh?
And it's the first time we've actually guessed the right one together.
This is the first
so-
time
job.
you guessed one at all.
This is the first time I've guessed one at all. Bless
good
you.
job.
High five.
Although it was a great story. And
It was.
It was kind of a shot in the dark for me because they were all pretty... I didn't want to pick that one because I'm like, God, let that be true.
I know. And what a great way for the elderly to be able
Right,
to
yeah.
enjoy their golden years,
I
literally.
do just remember my dad going, "You got some mail over at your grandma."
So angry.
Okay, what is it? I had forgotten I'd ordered them probably
So
or what. I was like,
angry.
oh, God. It's a good thing they didn't watch that, hopefully.
Right,
Any of them. So, and it was actually VHS, it was before, I think, even DVD maybe or
Right.
whatnot.
My grandmother used to get super upset with me because every year for my birthday, my grandfather would get me a subscription to Sports Illustrated.
Oh, huh?
Well, the swimsuit issue would come up. My grandmother saw it. She called my mother's like, Lawrence is getting dirty magazines. Mom's like, just let him have it. We're hoping it's going to work. So just let him have it.
We're hoping it's going to work.
He should like it. If he doesn't, whatever. But, yeah, but she was like, And that was just swimsuits.
Right,
You know what I mean?
right.
So if porn
Super dirty.
Grandma, you should see the other ones that are out there.
Yeah.
if porn would have showed up with Grandma Lundstrom, she was like 4'3" tall, but mean as shit. You know what I mean? Like she would have crawled up my back and punched me the whole time. You know what I mean? So
Think of the nostalgia of the magazine, like the sticky pages. Now I can just be wiped off the screen.
you know,
Some index.
we used to do all these podcasts at the San Siever and Brush, and they were remodeling it.
Right.
They pulled off this wall, and they found a bunch of old candy wrappers from like back in the 50s, I think. So
Really?
I didn't even recognize some of the wrappers. It was
Oh,
old.
that's pretty cool. Just rappers.
Yeah, but they also found porn in there.
Really?
Porn from back then, but it was like, hey, fella, she's Puerto Rican, but still isn't. I mean, it was like,
Wow.
It was, but she was showing a little leg. I mean, it was
Ooh.
nothing.
How dude.
Yeah, there was no
Maybe
genitalia.
a hint of giant bush.
Yeah,
right.
No genitalia, but Teresa Lake had taken it, and it was cool to see.
I'll bet.
Somebody was up there watching it, like watching an old.
That was super taboo back then.
Yeah.
So
Of
think
course,
about it. I
yeah.
mean, now it's so mainstream that we're all just like, oh,
Right.
yeah.
yeah. But I mean, they went to a dark theater to go enjoy their porn because they couldn't do it at home.
Pee
And
Wee
it was-
Herman it out back
Yeah,
in
right.
the day.
It was literally like the Sears catalog at this point. You know, it's
Yeah.
nothing. You would,
So obsolete. Huh?
yeah. But back then it was like,
Oh, I'm sure.
Well, and think of the lies you'd have to tell your wife to
Totally.
get out of the house to go,
right.
down to the.
But that's where they got all their news and stuff, right? I mean, newsreels
Right.
or whatever. you
Sure.
know, vaudeville, even back in those days. And you say,
Right.
I think it used to exist even then, didn't it?
Yeah.
It makes me think of Fight Club, where Brad Pitt talks about how he superimposes dicks into kids' movies, and then it pops up.
Which they've been accused of, right? Disney and some of them.
Sure.
Yeah.
You ever watch those videos with Disney
What's that?
where they show what they put on the?
Oh yeah, some of those things.
I mean,
It's like whoa.
I don't know if it's on purpose or not, but I mean, it's pretty hard to think it's not.
Some disgruntled employee there at Disney drawing in a big schlong in the background
You
of the
bet.
scene of
I could have been a disgruntled animator. I would have had so much fun with
But it
that.
might be two stone guys just laughing their ass
Totally.
off, thinking it's funny.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not even.
Every cave would have
evil.
been very tall and thin.
Anyway, well, Ryan, man, thank you so much. Before we go, like
Thanks
I
for
said,
having us.
we're going to put all the links to the catering service and the club tab. Come down and check it out down here. We're going to take a little B-roll. I'm going to throw it on there to kind of see, because you've done a lot of remodeling here. Christina was telling me last night, like you took the ceiling up, you took all the floating ceiling out, and it looks.
It looks amazing in here.
Well, thank you.
It looks like a neighborhood bar, which I really dig. I really like
appreciate
that look. When you
Yeah.
come in, it's just a
After we have is kind of the silver lining to the COVID, with the shutdown.
Right.
Kind of in the dark, and we started doing little things and decided to give it a little facelift there without gaining 1 square inch of square footage, but
right.
it changed the total appearance of the place,
But
definitely.
it's a cool bar. Like people are coming back to town for the reunions, whatever, to come
Yeah,
stop in here
yeah.
and check it out because it does have that old
Yeah.
It's
that
a piece of
neighborhood bar.
nostalgia. I mean,
Yeah.
we've all spent a considerable amount of time in here,
Oh, I got too much.
Yes.
all of us. That's all of us.
Yeah, it's all of us. So it was fun. But Ryan, thank you so much for coming
Thank you,
on,
guys.
man.
Thank you.
Appreciate
It's been
you.
fun.
I'm Moose Lundstrom.
I'm Jenny Ned.
Catch you next time. Peace.